I didn't think that there'd be a whole lot of news to discuss coming out of mandatory mini camps and having our 6-week break before training camp. Things were gonna slow down a little bit, get quiet. I was gonna be hungry for material. But sure as shit, the fire exploded. There's drama between Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. At least that's what they want you to believe. It is time to pour ourselves another Packers podcast. So happy Friday to everyone. Thank you again for checking out the show, being a viewer of what I am doing here in my basement on a, very early Friday morning. It's like, 1 o'clock in the morning. But I'm here to record videos. I'm here to finish up this. I'm still drinking the pecan whiskey. It doesn't taste good at all. But we are here to talk Packer news as always. And I got a couple topics I want to talk about. Couple things that came out throughout the week. There's no better place to start than the honeymoon phase that is the Rodgers-LaFleur marriage. Here's how it breaks down. So an article released by Michael Silver of NFL.com. I'm going to attach a link down in the description so you can read the whole article if you want to. He goes on about this problem that might be facing the Green Bay Packers when it comes to audibles and the plays that Matt wants to run and whether Aaron Rodgers is going to stick with those plays or audible out of them. Before I get started, there's a reason why this is a quick hits episode, because I do not want to waste 20 to 30 minutes really diving into this topic and making it more than what it actually is. Because to me, this is exactly this is a fluff piece. It's quite a bit less serious than whatever came out in Bleacher Report, which I never had the chance to talk about because the podcast wasn't around then. But regardless, this is carrying on that narrative, that overarching, is it overarching? The overarching idea that Aaron Rodgers is a villain. He is uncoachable. He is arrogant. He's never going to be able to find a coach to work with him. And it just bugs me that stuff like this starts to float out into Packers news that people pick up, that media has to talk about. And it all starts with reading this article. It really only boils down to about 2 or 3 quotes. Luckily, I wrote them down here. I have them that I can read off to you. So it starts with Matt LaFleur, right? He goes, "We're running a system I first picked up while working with Kyle Shanahan in Houston a decade ago, and we've never really had a quarterback who's had complete freedom to change plays at the line, because that's not really the way that the offense is set up. But, this is Aaron Rodgers. He's had a lot of freedom to make those calls, and deservedly so. Now, how do we reconcile that and get to a place where we put him in the best position to succeed?" So that's quote number 1. Pretty harmless as a quote. He's acknowledging that the system that he has is designed, for quarterbacks, any quarterbacks to go out there and succeed. And he's also acknowledging that Aaron Rodgers is motherfucking Aaron Rodgers, and he can go out there and just make amazing things happen, like throwing to Jared Cook against the Dallas Cowboys and beating the Cowboys because the Cowboys suck. But moving on, we talked about in previous videos this idea of can plays, and I think that's an important thing to point out here. Matt's going to be making plays that are specifically thought out about how to pick through this defense, and Aaron Rodgers will have the option on a can play. He can change it to a separate play, but usually there's 1 or 2 of these options in his back pocket that he has at his disposal. Now fast forward, Rodgers then comes out. He didn't even come out. They were at a locker room interview, and I don't even think really these are related a whole lot, to be honest with you, but with this article, they kind of meld them together and start talking about them. Rodgers' quote goes, "It's a conversation in progress. I don't think you want to ask me to turn off 11 years of recognizing defenses. We have a number of check with me's and line of scrimmage stuff. It's just the other stuff that really not many people in this league can do." And he goes on to talk about Brady, Peyton Manning, because sure as hell it isn't the other Manning brother that has this ability, and Drew Brees. They all have this ability to recognize defenses. They're very intelligent players. They go out there, they see that, they audible, they check down, whatever it is. They put themselves in a better opportunity to succeed. This entire thing from Rodgers now was taken out of context as well, and that's really the root of this article and where this article kind of lays its foundation. And I'm sorry, Michael, I don't know you, obviously. I mean, why would I? But you're building a whole lot of something out of nothing. The article then goes and talks about schemes and tempo and pre-snap movement, and these are very crucial to what this Packer offense is building and what we can expect to see in the 2019 season. From the scheme side, they are going to build schemes that get Adams more open. They're going to, like I talked about in previous videos, they're going to build an offense around these players and their skill set versus trying to just build an offense and hopefully these players fill in on those roles and you know, it just works. Tempo, they talk a lot about. There's going to be people flying around all over the place, and actually that has more to do with my pre-snap movement. There's going to be people flying all over the place before the snap. They're going to be moving to the line a lot faster. They're going to get the ball out faster. With all of these things that they have built in as far as these ideas of how they want this offense to run, whether it's having schemes that are ready or predetermined before going up to snap the ball, going at a faster tempo, and having a lot of movement that kind of keeps that defense looking and moving their eyes and not really sure what the play is or who the go-to target is. This is going to create a problem for Aaron Rodgers, just from a play clock standpoint, to go out there and audible the ball anyway. What we have is a offense that is going to be as prepared as possible with plays that are pre-designed to kind of pick apart this defense, confuse defenses from the mind of Matt LaFleur. And we have a guy like Aaron Rodgers who, if he has time or if he needs to improvise, he's going to go out there and do what Aaron Rodgers does. I can't believe, you know, this gained as much traction as it did. And then they started talking about an NFL network. They started talking about it on ESPN. Is there a feud between Rodgers and Matt LaFleur? There is absolutely 100% no feud going on between Matt LaFleur. These guys they're just trying to get to know each other, and this is going to be a lot of fun to really start to see unfold as the season. I mean, it gets me really excited for the season to start. But as the season progresses, we're going to start to see, you know, maybe some of these can plays that Rodgers changes it up. We're going to see the ability of Rodgers to scramble and keep the play going longer and make plays that might not have been part of the formation or anything like that before. I look at that as a plan B, probably the best plan B that you can ever have for an NFL offense. Is you have a head coach who is confident in his schemes, who is confident in his play calling, who is confident in his game planning to go out there and get the right play called, have a nice run pass mixture as far as how the offense is going to move the ball down the field. And then you have, if things start to fall apart or you need to extend a play or if you need to improvise, you have the master of all those traits right there under center to take control. This could be an extremely deadly combination that I think that more writers should be talking about versus all the drama about whether or not they're going to get along or if Rodgers is going to be a problem with calling Matt's plays. These guys they want to win. At the end of the day, they want to win. They want to win Super Bowls. They want to win games together. They want to pat their legacy. They want to grow. It leads to a final quote from Rodgers. "I won't call checks just to call checks. Look, you know the offense is great, and you scheme people up, and you have formations and motions. It should be fantastic. But if we need a little something, it's because we need it." And that's exactly where Rodgers stands on the entire situation. We can put the entire thing to rest. There's no need to talk about it. This is going to be a fun dynamic to watch, and we just need to appreciate that. I said this countless times before, that this is a great pairing between these two. They're both intelligent guys. They're different personalities, but they have a common goal. And let's not dive into it too much. I feel like even for a quick hits episode, I talked about this way too much. So that means we go into topic number 2. Now, for those of you that want a little bit of news outside of the Packers and what's actually going on in the NFL is now making pass interference a reviewable play. So this is 100% official, no pun intended. Both called and non-called plays for pass interference can be reviewed, and the owners voted 31-1 in favor of the rule change. Now that 31-1 got me a little bit curious. Who do you think that one team that didn't want to have the rule change made could have been? Rams. Coaches still get the same amount of challenges. So to make a couple things clear with how this whole challenge thing works, the coaches still get 2 challenges If they get both of their challenges right, they get that third challenge, so nothing changes there. And then under 2 minutes in both the end of the second quarter and the fourth quarter, and then in overtime, all those calls are made by the NFL committee, the booth. They call up to New York. They say, what are we going to do here? So nothing changes on that front. So if we even think back to the Rams-Saints game, that would have been an option for the NFL to review the play. But I got 2 quick hits in regards to this topic. So number 1, the rule change itself is only in effect for the upcoming season. So they committed to this for 1 year. They're going to see how it plays out. They're going to see if it makes a difference in, just the overall happiness of the players and the fans, because let's admit it, Saints fans were about as pissed as the Democrats when Trump won the presidency a couple years ago. So let's hopefully this plays out all right for just the one season, and then maybe we'll see it move on, and they'll probably vote on it again, and we'll go on to the 2020, 2021. That's a lot of 20s to say. The following season. Let's just stick with that. My second quick hit on this topic, and I think one that we need to just own up to and realize, is that this doesn't mean the refs still won't get it wrong, and it means that the refs still won't get it right. This is going to turn into a person looking underneath of the hooded area. He's going to have a tablet perhaps that is shown to him, and he's going to have to make this call on the spot whether or not a call is pass interference or not pass interference. And just like anything else when it comes to roughing the passer, which we're very exposed to last season, this is going to be a decision of one person at that time, and it's probably not going to always go the way that you want to. I do think it will be interesting if it's late in the game, maybe before that 2 minutes, and there's a team marching and it's crucial, and there looks like there's pass interference, and the flags get thrown just because if you don't use them, you lose them sort of situation. That could create a really unique dichotomy within the NFL, and I think that's why they've only committed it to just one season. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully it goes great. I think you need to maintain the integrity of the game. You don't want to have more timeouts and more underneath the hood footage just to slow down everything. We already have too many commercial breaks as it is. But if this helps decide the right winner, and I hopefully am not shooting myself in the foot if the winner happens to be someone playing the Packers in the Super Bowl. But if it makes the game fair, then really that's all that matters. And we can move on to my third topic, and that is the NFC North. So also this week, the NFL.com ranked the NFL's toughest divisions, 1 to 8 as far as what are the hardest divisions in the NFL. The NFC North came in at number 1 in the power rankings. And this was actually a little bit of an eye-opening thing. And once I kind of started to dissect everything and look at the rest of the divisions and see the teams and where they sat, it actually makes a lot of sense. When we look at the remaining list, you have the AFC North at number 2, NFC South at number 3. At number 4, you have the NFC West, AFC South, AFC West. NFC East is second to last with your Cowboys, Eagles, Redskins, and Giants. And then at the very bottom of the toughest divisions out there, you have the AFC East, and that might explain why the Patriots have been able to just essentially walk into the playoffs with an incredible record. Only have to win 1 or 2 games to make the Super Bowl, and then just anything can happen at that point. But we're not here to dive into that too much. Why it makes sense that the Packers, or I should say the NFC North, is just a tough division is because any one of these teams in the NFC North, you have arguments that they are playoff teams, or you can even make arguments that they are potential Super Bowl contenders. And to back up my claim, let's start with the Bears. So Khalil Mack proved to be everything that came as advertised when he was holding out in Oakland and then came to the Bears and absolutely just disrupted the entire division. Matt Nagy turned a 5-11 team into a division champ just year over year, so he's coming into his second year. And quite frankly, they probably would have been a much scarier, deadlier team had they had a field goal kicker, because there's no reason they should have went. They should not have went further in the playoffs. Mitch Trubisky is a lot better than we thought. He is a solid quarterback. He's much better than Jay Cutler. And again, my Jay Cutler scale is way down here. I never thought Jay Cutler was a good quarterback. And then the defense. The defense as a whole is scary. They got Clinton Dix, and obviously he is way better than Adrian Amos. At least that's what the Bears want to say. But I don't got time for another topic as far as all that news that came out over the past week. But the Bears are a solid team. They are defending NFC North champions. They are coming off of a lot of momentum. I'm sure Mac is still going to be there to cause all the trouble for Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the division. And let's head on to the Vikings. $1 million man, Kirk Cousins, coming into his second year. He got paid a huge contract. I don't think he's all that great of a quarterback, but he is, again, a solid quarterback. Second season with the Vikings, it should be a lot better, or he should have a better understanding of that offense coming into his second season versus that first season. And they did get a new offensive coordinator because they were just fed up with their last one and got rid of him. Poor guy. I don't know his name. I don't even want to look it up, but they fired their offensive coordinator because they paid $1 million man Kirk Cousins way too much money, and he wasn't putting up. So good. Wherever you are, I'm sure the internet knows. Good job, internet. I don't want to look it up. Mike Zimmer is arguably one of the best, if not the most underrated head coaches in the entire league. I actually looked him up on a top ranking of head coaches. I did some research on that one. He ranked number 9, which is solid. When you look at Matt LaFleur, who doesn't have any sort of pedigree, he was number 31. So that's a really nice resume that you got there, Mike Zimmer. And I respect him. He knows his defenses. He's obviously a solid defensive coach, but he's really turned that Vikings team around ever since he came there. And the Vikings struggled with head coaches for a very long time. Their two-headed monster at wide receiver with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen are probably one of the best 1-2 combos in the entire NFL. I would put them up against really anyone in the NFL. So they are stacked at wide receiver. Dalvin Cook's got to be coming back. He's going to be healthy. And the defense has hardly had any turnover. And if we think back, 2017, the Vikings had the number 1... That throws me off every time. The Vikings had the number 1 total defense in the NFL in the 2017 season, and they were just that one game away from hosting it at the US Bank Stadium. So Vikings, I have not even thought about them a whole lot, mainly because I have a brother-in-law who's a Vikings fan, and I don't really like to think about them being good. But when you dive into their team, the Vikings have one hell of a good team. And then we talk about the Lions. Well, okay, seriously, so Matthew Stafford's a pretty good quarterback. He's got one hell of an arm. He hasn't been able to, really take that next leap as far as a tier of elite quarterbacks in the NFL. But Matt Stafford's a great quarterback. They got him behind center. If he can stay healthy, they always seem to have a chance to win a game. They've had winning records 3 out of the last 4 seasons. Now, the only time of the last 4 seasons that they didn't have a winning record was last season. Matt Patricia is coming into his second season as well as head coach, so you have to think that this is going to be a prove-it type of year for him to come out and make the Lions a better team, a playoff team. They drafted T.J. Hawkinson, who was easily probably one of the most, if not the most, talented offensive weapon outside of quarterback taken in the draft. So he's going to bring a lot of options for them on the passing game. And then really they have the pretty powder blue jerseys. So when it comes to the Lions, they obviously finished last in the division last year. They're going to have a hard time not coming in last this year. And that's not really a diss on the Detroit Lions. I don't have a problem with the Detroit Lions, but this is more of a testament to the other teams in the divisions. Each of the top 3 there, whether you want to put them Bears, Vikings, Packers, like they finished last season, all 3 of these teams took leaps to make, significant leaps to become better teams going into this next season. And I gotta believe, I'd be foolish not to believe that the Packers are going to take one of those playoff spots going on the next season. And then the Bears and Vikings, who knows? We could have a trifecta. NFL.com obviously thinks that there's going to be a trifecta because it's the toughest division in the league. But this causes me to maybe want to re-examine my prediction as far as what I had for the schedule and what I thought the Packers' schedule, what their season would kind of shape up to be. So we play the AFC West, who was ranked number 6. We play the NFC East, who was ranked number 7. So for the most part, those are the weaker divisions, and this should give us an opportunity to have a better outcome, or have our hat in the ring as far as winning some games. But when you look at those two that ranked really low, you have the Chiefs and the Chargers in the AFC West, and then you have maybe the Broncos and the Raiders who trail off a little bit. And then in the NFC East, you have the Cowboys and the Eagles, who are, rock star teams, or competitive teams. And then that one kind of trails off as far as the Redskins, and who fucking knows what we're going to get with the Giants. And then we play the Niners in the NFC West, which is the number 4th division. And then we play the Panthers in the NFC South, who's the number 3rd toughest division. So really kind of interesting stuff to dive into. I mean, I'm an analytical kind of guy. You probably picked that up from just watching these videos. Yeah, maybe I'll re-examine the schedule. I probably won't. I have more important things to do than just rehash things that you can't predict anyway. So let's move on to our final topic. And the final topic is, in case you missed it, Brett Favre released a tweet this week on the good old Twitter stating, "A true champion sticks to his or her calling. I will be coming out of retirement and making my return to play in the NFL for the 2020 season. Stay tuned for more news." Now, before, spoiler alert, his account was hacked. This was not Brett Favre tweeting this out. His account was apparently hacked. He deleted the post. It's really amazing on the internet. You can find anything, even after it's been deleted. I can obviously look up this tweet and put it on this video. You can't hide. There's no hiding on the internet. But getting off topic, Brett Favre's not coming out of retirement, but this created a whole lot of fun. It created a stir in the Packer community. It even created a stir in the NFL community. Before it was notated that it was hacked, there were people out there talking essentially, what team would he play for? Do you think he still has the skill? He's still probably better than, I would say Brett Favre at his age is still better than 30% of the quarterbacks in the league, maybe 40%. I don't know. I haven't seen him play in a long time. The guy just loves to play football. He goes out there, he throws it hard, it gets intercepted. We all know the long story short on that one. Love you, Brett Favre. That's not a diss to you, but you were a little bit reckless with the ball. But I wanted to end on that story. If you didn't see it, it's fun to kind of bring it up in these videos. If you did see it, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I'm going to wrap up this quick hits episode right now. I appreciate you sticking around. If you made it, if you were one of the 30% of people that made it this far in the video, thank you. You were a loyal fan. And if you are not a fan or have yet to subscribe down below. I'm snapping a lot tonight. It's this pecan whiskey. I don't know what it is, but it makes me just, comment down below with your inputs on what's going on with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers, or if you agree with me and there's nothing going on between them. Your thoughts on the rule changes, the rankings of the best divisions or the toughest divisions. I talked about a lot of stuff in this quick hits video. I've made it too long, so I'm going to let things go. I will see you next week, and I will see you on the internet. Thanks for watching.